Nuclear drama up ahead. I'm about to go in. Kinda. I mean, I have no hate between me and EO. Like, I actually respect him as a content creator. And I do respect a lot of his points. However, there's some things that really need to be talked about. And I'm tired of just sitting on the sidelines. I've seen a lot of criticism lately of Wuwa. And you know what? Call me a Kuro bot. I don't care. I play like Hoyoverse games and Kuro games. I don't care. But I do want to at least put up some points. Now, again, I want to clear this up before I get started on this. This is in no way hate towards EO, and I fully ask that everybody who watches this video does not take it, A, as a hate thing on EO, and B, as a sign to go harass EO, because there's no reason to be harassing content creators. You may have a different point, which is fine. I think debate is perfectly fine, but going and harassing them and calling them stupid is probably not the way that you should go about it. I'm just saying that's just my opinion. And number two, remember that this is just my opinion, and I know that this is his opinion and the other content creators' opinions. But I do have some things I do need to address about this post and other things that have been said from other content creators. So we're going to go ahead, dive into this, right? So we're going to go step by step. Plus, I need a video today. I need to do something. And I feel like I never talk about the actual space of creators in regards to Wuthering Waves. So enough of the, freaking stupid tangents. Let's go ahead and go into this. EO on Twitter says, had a banger combo. Pfft, I'm already terrible right now. I need some gamer subs really quick. Hold on. There we go. Had a banger convo with some amazing creators about the current roster of gacha games, but primarily Wuthering Waves' potential. A couple key takeaways without digging into it too much detail. First point is Wuwa's downfall will be that of the community, public perception. If they continue down this path, criticism is not y'all's enemy. So I want to talk about this first, because I feel as though with this point in particular, let's go ahead and highlight it just in case people are skipping through. My point with this, and I don't think it's public perception, right? We've seen already that Kuro games, and specifically Wuthering Waves, are still making millions upon millions of dollars, right? The only issues with public, at least perception, is people hating on the game to hate on the game. Now, why do I say it like that, right? There are people dedicated to just hating Wuthering Waves. If you don't know, look at Tectone's degens. There are people in there that are just hating on Wuwa just for clicks, just to rage bait, right? And I'm not saying Tectone's degens Twitter space is bad. It's not. I'm a part of it. Tectone, if you're watching this, you're a homie. Can't wait to work with you at some point. But to me, I feel as though that a lot of people take what one guy says or two guys say about hating on the game, and then they make it like, boom, it's the entire community. It's not. I actually did myself make a post about this type of thing as well recently, and it was this right here. There are two reasons the community of Wuwa has become toxic. One, many people say that Wuwa is terrible, but have little to no playtime on the game, which is true. I think even Tectone explained it in a video reacting to Ryuku Sensei's video, where a lot of people quit in the first little bit of Wuthering Waves during the tutorial because of the voice acting. And that's, that's neither here nor there, but it's true. A lot of people get upset at just that. Some of them got upset about, the terrible launch, which is true. Kuro Games had a very terrible launch with Wuwa, and I don't blame people for being mad about it, but at the same time, it was like patches ago. Like, let it go. Like, it's done with. And then two, many Wuwa players can't let go of the fact that others are going to shit talk the game, which is absolutely 100% true. And I think that that's where that comes from. People are like, it's public perception. No, if it was public perception, the game would not be making millions of dollars, right? It's just a fact. Like, if the listen. We can all talk about how Amazon is terrible, but until you actually stop buying from that site, do you really think it's that terrible? Like, It's just how it is. If you have 1 to 2, maybe 5 outliers, and I'm not saying that there isn't, but there is a percentage of players that crap on the game just to crap on the game. That's their whole shtick. That doesn't mean that the game is terrible and the public perception is bad. It just means that a small percentage is bad. That's all it is, man. So I disagree with that point right there. Figureheads of these spaces need to hold more accountability or acceptance in their position of power, voice, and police shame the community together. Now, what is he saying? He's saying that bigger content creators need to understand and accept the fact that they hold a position of, swaying opinions. Now, with that, it's basically saying like, oh, this person agrees with me, so I should agree with them. Yes, that's true, because I'm gonna be blunt with y'all. If you're going onto Twitter and seeing a bigger content creator say something and you're just agreeing with them outright because you don't have your own opinion, you lack the ability to critically think for yourself. It's just how it is. I'm sorry. If this comes off really mean, it's true. Because a lot of people just go, my content creator didn't do anything bad. I love them. And then one thing says, hey, I'm accusing this person with no proof of something. Oh, I now hate that content creator because there's no proof of anything. Or, oh, I hate this content creator because they disagree with my favorite content creator. It's just how it is, right? People lack critical thinking, and that's just it. Is it my responsibility as a content creator to basically hold them account, or to basically say, look, guys, this is my opinion and you should agree with it? Or should it be me telling them to be thinking about their own opinions? I deal with this on a daily with a couple of people. And I have to tell them like, look, I have my opinions, but you should formulate your own opinion as well. Okay. It's not difficult. It just takes a little bit of brain power and a little bit of gusto, right? Now, when it comes to policing and shaming the community together, it really depends on the situation. I'm not going to shame somebody like, Gotcha Smack, who talks crap about Woowa, because it's his opinion. Do I disagree with it? Absolutely. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with people voicing their opinions. Why should I shame somebody for voicing an opinion? Now, if it's somebody like Rexlent who wants to, discipline a bratty character that looks underage, then yes, I think that policing and shaming is perfectly fine. But when it comes to something like, oh, I have an entirely different opinion in regards to the story of Wuthering Waves, I'm not going to police or shame somebody about that. Now, granted, I'm pretty sure that EO is leaning more towards my first thing that I was talking about with, the bratty character stuff. I think he's talking more about that stuff, and that's fine. Like, if that's true, then I 100% agree. But also, the content creators are not the police. That's not how we do. It's not our job, right? I think that ultimately we should be more respectful towards everybody and be able to actually have these wonderful debates and conversations. But I don't think policing and shaming people is part of the job. It's not our thing. But accountability, absolutely. We should be held accountable and held to a standard of like being, an influence on other people. So there's that. S tier content that isn't reacts or guides. The problem with this, and I do agree, I think that there should be more content out there. But I'll put it into more of a perspective, right? Like, it's easier to farm with reacts and guides than it is to do other content. Now, granted, I try to do a little bit of different stuff. Like, I still do my should you summons, and I talk about, more of the, new patches and new live streams that come out and everything like that. But I do other videos. I actually did a video recently on ZZZ about the problem that it might have with guide makers now. And I think that was an S tier video, and it seems like a lot of people actually liked watching it. So cool. And yeah, I think that we should do more than just reacts and guides. I think that's just apparent. But at the same time, like, if somebody's doing that, then somebody's doing that. But I also think that we should probably work together, right? If we're doing this, we should probably think of other stuff that actually like works together and be like, hey, why not we do like a Family Feud type of thing for Wuthering Waves, or make game shows and stuff like that? It'd be really fun. And hopefully in 2025, that's going to be stuff that I really, really want to do, is to make it more like interactive with other creators, right? Kuro needs to get more directly involved with benefiting their creators. I don't entirely know what this means, except for like maybe giving more currency. Like, you know, I get it to a degree, you know, because we're making videos for Kuro games. And more currency would be great for the creators because then we can actually do the summons and be able to actually, you know, give more content, I guess, in the sense of summoning videos, right? However, I don't know entirely what you mean outside of that. If you're meaning like promotion, yeah, I could see that too. I would love to see that Kuro Games promotes their creators, or gets, you know, more of the smaller creators on their team. Hi, Kuro Games. Would love it. But I don't understand exactly what you mean without context. And this is going to be something that I honestly talk about throughout this whole thing, is that this is a very vague post on points, and it doesn't provide any like remedies, right? It's very low in substance in regards to actually helping solve the problems. It's just pointing it out. You know what I mean? So Kuro is going to fail at their vision if they don't quickly establish Wuwa as its own thing and not a Genshin plus XYZ identity. Now, Kuro Games didn't do that themselves, right? Kuro Games is Kuro Games. There has not been a thing where they said Kuro or Wuthering Waves is the Genshin killer. Wuthering Waves is Genshin but better. They didn't establish that themselves. That's the community. Now, you could say it's Kuro Games' fault, but it's not. Like, they made a great game. And honestly, you're talking about... Let's be 100% transparent here. As much as I crap on Genshin and still do Genshin content, I'm going to be real with y'all. Genshin is still, like, probably the most popular gacha game out there. Like, let's call it like it is. It is consistently throughout the years pulled in between 20 million to 40 million every month. Every freaking month. There is no denying that Genshin is that good. But at the same time, you can't really escape that when Genshin is the big game, right? And Wuthering Waves has a lot of stuff that is very reminiscent to Genshin Impact, however, has its own twist. It's its own identity. Now, the worst of the worst people, the ones that are constantly crapping on Wuwa, are going to be the ones to compare it to Genshin Impact. And that's just how it is, man. We're not going to be able to get rid of that. Like, that's just how people are. We're in a very cynical time, you know, or not cynical, I would say very horrible time of people just not understanding that while, yes, they have similarities, they're not the same thing, right? Most of the systems in Wuwa have no real purpose relative to the game itself, which further separates the identity, i.e. multiple features inspired from other mediums, but not fleshed out enough for their own game. Like what? This doesn't do anything. This really doesn't. Like, saying that vague, and you're saying, like, most of the systems, I disagree. Because most of the systems are for the combat, and the combat works. The combat makes sense. I don't understand your point of saying most of the systems when most of the systems do make sense towards the game. Which systems don't? Like, be specific of this. Like, EO, again, you're cool. You're awesome. I love watching, like, your content and reading your posts on Twitter. But, dude, like, you're not providing anything to this post. There's nothing. What systems specifically? Like, I could name one myself that I think needs to improve, like the treasure map system. I think that it's, in some cases, it could be better than Genshin. But my problem with it is that with multiple layers, it becomes difficult to fully find the rest of the treasure chest. I think they need to do better, especially when it says, like, oh, you've got 94% of the treasure chest and you're in the area and you can't find where the last couple treasure chests are. I think they need to improve that and make it a little bit better. Maybe actually distinguish and put in, like, hey, this treasure chest is at a different level. Stuff like that. I think that would be perfect. However, I don't understand this from your perspective. List out what's wrong. Why are you afraid to list out what's wrong to the community? I don't understand that. I think it breeds, like, actual, like, debate, because people could be like, yeah, I agree or disagree with the system. So to me, that part of the post makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you have context, I would love to hear the context, but I feel like you should do it publicly if you're going to make a vague post publicly. Immerse the players in the actual game, not the concept of better than Genshin. I don't understand this. Where do they do that? Kuro Games does not say better than Genshin in any way, shape, or form. And it doesn't even do it as like a side thing, like, oh, unlike other games, we do this. I've never heard them do that. So to me, I'm very confused by this statement because I think that that's more so the conception from the people who hate on Wuthering Waves. That's all it is. Like, I'm not saying you do, EO. I'm just saying in general, this part doesn't make any sense, and I would like to see a little bit of elaboration on it personally. And then your final point, Wuwa is missing glue to the system. Top 3 most important of the game's problems. Like what? Like which system? Like, I feel like as though these last 3 points have not made any sense towards what Wuwa can do. And maybe it's just me looking at Wuwa with rose-tinted glasses, but in all honesty, I don't see your points in this. Like, if you're not going to be specific, it just feels like it's verbal diarrhea. And again, this is not meant to disrespect you, EO. I fully understand if you take it that way, but it's not meant to. It's meant to call it out as it is, and it literally just doesn't make any sense. Like, take Ryuku Sensei, for example. Like, I don't agree with a lot of Ryuku Sensei's, like, takes, but at the same time, at least he goes into detail about why he doesn't like something, what he thinks needs to improve. And some of them are good, some of them I think are horrible takes. But at the same time, like, every take I've seen Ryuku Sensei post up, it has an elaboration and it has a detailed understanding of why they think it's bad. By the way, shout out to Ryuku Sensei. He's been killing it lately. Like, take off, King. Take off. But yeah, I just don't agree with really any of these points. Like, I don't understand that. I'm hopeful for V2 hitting the ground hard and handling a lot of the issues that have been brought to light, as well as those that are major problems, but the vocal majority has shunned. Hold on, I need to reread that really quick. I'm hopeful for V2, which is 2.0, hitting the ground hard and handling a lot of the issues that have been brought to light, as well as those that are major problems, but the vocal majority has shunned. What major problems? Explain. Like, I don't think there's any shunning. I think there's just more so, like, nobody is willing to have these debates. Like, you could say what you will about Gotcha Smack and Saint Totas going at it at each other. They have differing opinions, but at least they elaborated on what they thought was wrong or what they thought was right. Like, come on, man. Explain it. Why are you so scared to explain what the problem is? Unless you're saving it for a video, in which case there was no point in posting this. If you were going to save it for a video, you could have said, hey, check out my latest video where I talk about a lot of the major problems with Wuthering Waves. And people would have been like, okay, let's go ahead and go into it. And it probably would have brought up discussion not only in your comment section for YouTube, but also your comment section for Twitter. I just don't get it. I don't understand this. A lot of these can be solved with the quickness, but takes effort and willing parties. Kuro Games has always been willing to fix any issues that are brought up to light by the majority. Like, and yes, I say the majority because if it's a minor issue that doesn't really affect anything, they want to focus on major things and then focus on the minor, right? So I don't understand if they've handled criticism. Like, I don't get this point. Like, is there examples of this? Do you have anything for this? I'm just saying. Tons of people like to pull the wool over their eyes until they smell the house burning down, but then it's too late. But again, if you're not willing to say what's burning the house, like actually burning the house, like you could say like, oh, it caught on fire, but what caught it on fire? Was it a lit up matchstick? Was the, iron for ironing clothes on and it burnt the freaking, clothes? Was the stove on? Tell us what caused the fire so that we could put it out before. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, you're not telling us the details of the fire. You're just saying, house on fire. Put it out. Okay, we can put it out, but what caused the fire? I don't know. That's just how I say it. And then, you know, another thing too. At the beginning, they said had a banger combo with some amazing creators. Who? 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 And then you double down. All right, this is Fob. All right, EO, name the creators you talk to. Need to hear where these takes are coming from. I'm not naming shit on here for low IQ Twitter users to bitch and moan at them about LOL or Lamau. I'll just DM ya if you actually care to talk about it. Now, for me, I could have DM'd you and did the same thing, but I don't think that's entirely fair. If you're going to talk about other amazing creators, you know, and all that stuff, then put it out there. Who cares? Like, they're creators. They could have their own opinions as well. If they want to, I do agree, though. I do agree in some cases, right? If you're trying to keep them anonymous and they ask to be anonymous, fine. I get that. But I also feel as though, like, if you're willing to give that data, or not data, but if you're willing to get the names to Fob in private, I think that it's safe to say you're fine with putting the names out there and they're fine with their names being out there. That's just me, unless it's like the bigger creator should have all that information, not the smaller boys like myself. And plus, I will say Twitter is full of a couple of freaks. I'm just saying. So, overall to me, there is no disrespect meant from me to you about this post. I do respect you as a content creator, EO, so I want that to be 100% transparent. However, I feel as though this post was too vague to have an impact. And if some people did, like, I saw one person say, like, based, where is it? These are some good points from VXV Fiction, right? There's a couple of people in this thread that have said that they think that these are good points. I disagree. And the only reason why I say they're not good is because there's no details. If you were to go onto a live debate and argue like this, you'd get cooked. And it seems like a couple of people in the comment sections are also trying to say that you'd get cooked too. I just feel as though if you're not giving the details and not willing to, like, elaborate, unless it's in a video, there was no point in making the post. So that's just me. If this gets drama, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be dramatic. I felt a need to make a video about this because I saw this post and I was confused in the morning. I reread it this afternoon. I was confused then, and then as I'm making this video, I'm still confused. Like, what is wrong with the game? Like, I don't know. But yeah, that's gonna be it. I probably, yeah, I'm not gonna put any ads on this video. You know, like, this is just debating. Like, I would love to hear details and then be public. And I don't know. Maybe it's not going to happen. You know, maybe EO does make a video about this. I haven't checked his channel in the last 2 days, so my apologies if you did, EO. But at the same time, again, I really hope that you understand this is no disrespect to you, no disrespect to your opinions. It's just more so give me details and make them public so that people can actually debate and have conversation. I think conversation is healthy. So, anyways, y'all, that's going to be it. Love you all to death. And as always, we will catch you in that next video. Please take care and be safe.